Are you ready to unlock the secrets of keeping your viewers hooked? Imagine having the power to captivate your audience with multiple camera angles. The wait is almost over, and I'm about to spill the beans on the ultimate tips and tricks. Get ready to elevate your content creation game to the next level. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Content Creators Connect. Here we are all about encouraging the 3 C's, connecting with others via video, a content development that builds your personal brand, and creators sharing their experiences despite their distance.
My friends, the C3 team member leading this evening is Kevin, also known to his community as ClasicMac, and he is well known as being a strong advocate in finding low-cost tools to help you in your live streaming journey.
So, I have to ask you guys, do you ever wish that you had a team that was behind the scenes and sort of like a crew to change all of your different camera views? And do you currently have different scenes with different camera angles built into your production? So I'll head over to Dori first.
Yes, 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 and all of the above. I have always wished that I could clone myself, so I had multiple sets of hands for sure. As for my setup, yes, I have 5 different camera angles currently established in my studio, and I can switch between whenever I wish. What about you, Manny?
Well, I personally don't have multiple cameras set up in my live streaming, but my clients, I do have a few clients where we do use have multiple devices connected in order to have multiple live. But from a personal standpoint, not yet. That's why I'm super excited about, more ways on having different angles. So I'm super excited about this topic. If you're not noticing, my friends, if this is the type of content that you'd like to see more of, please consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you do get notified whenever we go live. Now, that is what we want you to do.
All right. Well, today we're going to have a lot of fun because I'm going to be doing a bit of a demo as well as discussing sort of the pros and cons of having a multi-camera streaming setup. So thank you for joining us. I do appreciate you taking some time out on your Sunday evening to join us. And sort of the first thing I need to say is, what is the definition of a multi-camera setup? Technically, it's a configuration that involves using 2 or more cameras simultaneously to capture different angles during a live stream. But the key word being angles, and I'll touch on that in just a little bit later. And it's definitely improved in it's grown in popularity due to the accessibility of the new technology and the new equipment that is out there. And the ways that the cameras can be connected are hardwired or wireless. But if you're connecting with hardwire, that means you need capture cards to be able to bring that device into your computer and into your stream. Wireless means that you can connect more devices than you have USB ports on your computer, which I absolutely love. Today, we're going to be talking about different streaming software, and I am going to be using vMix, which is my software of choice to be able to do my live streams and incorporate multiple cameras. So I also know Ecamm and OBS. They are all also compatible with what's called NDI. They are able to use NDI software to be able to bring in these sources wirelessly into your production. So I absolutely love NDI for being able to do that. Myself being in the tech world, a lot of people just say, "Hey, I have a new iPhone. Here, you can look after it, and you can recycle it for me." So I have a whole pile of old iPhones that I've accumulated over the years, and they're still working, functional, but I'm not going to be using them as phones. I'm going to be using them as cameras because Apple actually has some pretty decent cameras on their phones. So absolutely love taking people's technology and using them and repurposing for something else. So some of the pros of having a multi-camera setup, an enhanced visual appeal. So you can showcase different perspectives, creating a dynamic and engaging viewing experience. So switching between different cameras, you are able to, I have to hit the right thing. There we go. There we go. So switching between different cameras, you're able to enhance the audience or engage the audience and get them into an engaging conversation so that they can actually see something that's a little bit different that's behind them. And then by going back to your main shot, you're able to go back to something that's more familiar. So keeping them visually stimulated. Number two, professional quality. Sort of mimic the traditional broadcast, elevating your production value. And better visuals can attract larger audience and maintain a viewer interest. Versatility and flexibility. Easily adapt to different types of content, like for instance, interviews or performances, tutorials by choosing suitable camera angles. And then you can also transform a static presentation into an interactive experience. And let's go into a couple of the cons of doing a multi-camera setup. It could be complex for the setup and operation. It requires some technical knowledge to be able to switch between cameras and manage the feeds that are coming in. And there's a possibility of technical glitches or errors during the live stream, which never happens with us. Everything always runs just perfect, right? Increased resource requirements. More cameras means higher demands and processing power on your computer. So you have to have a powerful enough CPU to be able to run the multiple inputs. The need for additional equipment. Cameras, tripods could be costly, but if you are using NDI as a wireless option, definitely can save you a few bucks that way. And if you do have a larger production and your cameras are, if you're off site and doing multiple camera angles at an event, you definitely would like to have a camera crew along so that they can make sure everything is up and running and functioning properly. And learning curve, operating a multi-camera setup effectively demands a lot of practice and training. So mistakes can occur when switching between cameras or managing transitions, as I just demonstrated to you. So why don't we just go right into the presentation of, or the demonstration rather than the presentation of different types of views that you could have. So for myself, I've set up a couple of old iPhones around my house with different views. So here I have something just going at my desk in my bedroom that's just pointing at my desk. And I have one out of my window in the back so I can actually see what's going on outside. And of course, this view where you can actually see me talking right to you, but you can also see me over there as well. And I knew I was going to do that. There we go. And then in behind me, I have some LED lighting going on. So I'm going to show you how you can actually do multi-camera angles using a single camera, which will definitely save you some money as well. So as you can tell, the LED lights that you see behind me, I was able to use my front camera and actually zoom in to get more of it than just the two that you see behind my shoulder here. So why don't we go into we're going to do a desktop share and show you in vMix how you actually go about creating these multiple angles. So in vMix, we're going to go into an add an input, and then there is an option here called NDI or desktop capture. So if you go under NDI, these cameras, they already have the NDI software installed on them, so that we are able to then just go in and select each of these devices. So I'm going to select the one in my bedroom. And then, is it there or is it off? I think that one may have timed out. I've been having issues with that phone lately. So let's go with the outside backyard one. So as I've shown you before in the small screen, this is what my backyard looks like. So we're going to go into add input, NDI, and we're going to go with my backyard. And the fun part about this now is you go into the settings of the camera and the position, and you can actually go in and play. It's like, I'd really like to see what's beside or in between those two shrubs. So then you are able to go in and zoom right in and see a pretty picture of the flowers that seem to be growing quite nicely there. So now you have, let me go back to my main screen. So now we have the whole picture of the backyard, but we also have a zoomed in picture of the flowers, which is really cool because you're using two camera angles using one camera. And let us do the same thing with my front camera. So I'm going to do another NDI and my front camera. There we go. And then, what am I going to do? So, actually going to add a blank. And then I'm going to go and add here we have multi-view layers in vMix. So I'm actually going to select my Sony cam, which is actually zoomed out quite a bit from what you see on the regular screen. So now I'm going to go in, edit this, and I'm actually going to zoom in to my on air. So now you can actually switch between your on air and your front main shot. So what I really love about the NDI format is you're able to bring in these wonderful wireless devices that can be repurposed. So the name of the software that I actually have been using is called NDI HX Camera, and it's available on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And for me, it's about $20, and I absolutely feel that this is worth having, because if you have old tech laying around your house, you can repurpose it and use it for your live streams. Like for instance, Manny, with one of your clients doing a baking show, you can have one camera, and then you can also create a second scene where you can actually zoom in on the bowl as they are cooking. Um, and I know for yourself, Dori, you probably already have this, but for your D&D streams, you probably have something zoomed in onto a map, as well as a zoom in on you. But whether that's a physical device or the same device, just a different angle, I'm not sure. So you might be able to give some further explanation of that. So like I said, I'd been using a bunch of iPhones that have been given to me from people just upgrading over the years. And it's like, here, you're Mr. Technology. You can look after getting rid of it. It's like, no, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm just going to hoard it and use it elsewhere. And I've also used iPads and also different tablets. As long as they have a Wi-Fi connection, you can connect to the app stores and download and install. And by the way, the cost for that app, it's a one-time cost. And as long as you sign into these different devices, you can use it and download it and install it on many as you would like. So with that, I would like to turn back to the group and find out a little bit more about what you have found helpful in terms of using NDI, having multiple types of camera angles, and whether you see that as helpful in your streams, and whether you can see it helpful in the future, and has this given you guys any ideas of what to do for your streams in the future?
Well, I know for me, multiple camera angles is a really big deal for me. I am all about trying to change things up and hold people's attention. And there is a ton of research out there indicating that the more you can change your visual cues for someone during your videos, the more likely you are to hold their attention. Now, I will say this. I have used NDI in the past, and I did not have great Wi-Fi. I did not have a really strong signal. So I struggled with NDI also because I have a lot of devices. And so sometimes I feel like the frequencies and the signals can interfere with each other. So I don't use NDI anymore, but that I haven't used it in a long time. So I feel like maybe there's been improvements. So I would love to go back and try that again, because I also have a lot of older devices. And I just want to take a second here. Victor says NDI is great. I use for cameras and to bring in other computers and broadcast productions from other computers. And I know, Victor, I've watched a ton of your videos, and I know that you heavily rely on NDI. I would be curious to hear your thoughts on whether or not you've ever had issues with devices interfering with each other, or if NDI has made a lot of improvements. And the one other thing I wanted to point out quickly is I love the idea of what you demonstrated, Kevin, where you were showing multiple angles with only one camera. Because for someone who's just starting out, having one source, but being able to do things like zoom in and focus on different aspects of the scene, I think would help them save money as they're first starting out until they could build up and collect some old devices or attach other cameras like what I have here in my studio. So I loved that point, and I loved that you demonstrated that you could do that, especially like with your backyard. I thought that was great. Manny, what do you think?
Well, I want to kind of feed off of what you shared about helping grab their attention and not losing it and having different angles because of it. That's one thing I'm always sharing with anyone that I'm doing a show with, because I'm basically looking at it as creating a show. How does it look when we watch shows, right? It goes from angle to a different angle to different angles to help us keep our attention. If we were watching a show with just one person on it, our eyes would get bored. And that's why I think that you brought some really great value introducing that NDI. I've not used that in a long while, actually, because with all of my clients, if I'm using vMix, I'm using Zoom and the virtual cables. If I'm using Ecamm, I don't have to use anything other than they tune in. And on the Ecamm part, I have used multiple cameras with a lot of that. So I love that you introduced the NDI because I have the opportunity to use like my wife's iPhone, to use my Android, and I kind of got away from the NDI. So I'm so glad you brought that back into the picture because I know I was even like paying like something a month to keep that thing on the device. I actually think I did do the $20 with the Android. So I'm so glad you brought that back up because I am wanting to have different angles, and that's what's great about it. Like you can have it in your home in different rooms. It doesn't even have to be in the same room. So you basically solved that problem for anyone looking to create a show. Just like Dori taught last week or about on the show flow, or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on the show flow, right? Like having this camera angles as part of that show flow is a really great show that you're bringing to the table. So I love that you reintroduced me to the NDI. So I'm sure others got some value on that.
I Victor, for those that don't know, Victor is an incredibly genius mind when it comes to networking and techie stuff. So he, as a follow-up, said he has about 30 to 40 devices on his network. And I know that he has built his own, he's got his own network devices. He's got multiple APs and things. So he's like heads and tails up here when it comes to like networking and really tech stuff. But he is a great resource if you guys want any additional information regarding like multiple device setups. And I'm not talking just cameras, I'm talking about bringing in multiple sources as computers and other inputs and things like that into your streams. Victor is awesome with that. And Anna was, I'm just scrolling back up through the comments. Manny, you've upgraded your device twice now. You're not set for a while. Come on. Listen, once you get the
I
bug,
mean, the
it's
device only, not equipment, just the device.
um Anna has said early on that she has been meaning to try using two cameras, and she uses StreamYard, but she said she can barely use one. And I think Victor said it all when he said once you use two, using 8 or more is no big deal. So it's like an addiction. Once you add one, you have to just keep going. I have one that focuses on my cat. I have one that focuses on my all of my fun plushies and stuff on the back wall. Manny's gonna start using a bunny cam since his bunny is in his office. I love it.
That
And
definitely helps with viewer engagement if you bring animals
Exactly.
into the.
and I just want to clarify, Kevin. I want to make sure that I got this correct for our viewers. NDI HX Camera is the name of the app. Yes.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Um, and just the use of old equipment. I think sometimes people, they forget those devices. They toss them in a drawer and they forget that as long as you can connect them to Wi-Fi, just like you said, Kevin, they're useful. Okay, Victor, Manny does have he does
I have
have a
something, yeah.
Silicon Mac. He does. And we've got him on the eCam train. So so he's good to go, for a while at least.
Yeah.
But I think I'm scrolling back up through here. I think we've got all the comments and questions that we. Oh, I lied. I did have a question. When you switched to the multiple camera, and I think you were demonstrating your backyard view at that time, Kevin, is it video only, or can you also bring in the audio from those other sources through NDI?
You absolutely can. On my
Okay.
regular stream, I actually plug in and use my iPad as the camera and audio, and as well, and bring it closer to me. So it catches the audio from the microphone and the video from the iPad through the
Awesome.
NDX.
Very, very cool. So I believe that has done it for our show tonight. Kevin, this was really awesome. Thank you so much for
Great
bringing the
job,
content.
Kevin.
It was amazing. And as a wrap up, I'm going to bounce it on over to Kevin over here one more time.
So if you're
Whoa.
just getting, whoa,
Hold on. That's not what I wanted. Wait a minute. Speaking of technical difficulties, hold please. Okay, that's
that
what I
never
wanted.
happens. That never happens. Technical difficulties are always perfect on our show, right?
No.
So, if you're actually getting started on your professional live streaming journey, I would like to highlight a previous video that we did way back in the day when we talked about setting up OBS. If if you have not purchased vMix or have a Mac and using Ecamm, OBS works on multiple platforms and is a great tool to use. So check out episode 19, and it's called OBS, Start Your Professional Live Streaming Journey. And it was on November the 8th of last year is when we posted it. And I think, I'm going to go ahead and post that link into the chat.
My friends, if you enjoy content like this and you're finding it useful, we would love it if you'd like and subscribe to our channel. And sharing our content is also a great way to spread the love. And you can visit our website for all the information on the ways that you can connect with us at linktr.ee/content creators connect. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you drop down into the comments below and let us know what kind of content you would like to see in the future, we would love to cover that for you.
And speaking of you, thank you for joining Content Creators Connect, aka C3, tonight as we saw Kevin talk about multi-camera and multi-angle streaming. We will be taking next week off to spend the holiday with our families, but we will return 2 weeks from now on Sunday, September 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern, where I will be demonstrating how I use my Stream Deck in my productions. Maybe talking about switching camera angles. We will be multicasting live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, so be sure to join us. Until then, we urge you to identify and lean into your 3 C's. Start today creating unique content that builds connections and breaks down those barriers. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.